morning.
Good morning.
Yep, we're live.
Are we up and running?
It says we are, so
Hot dogs. Okay.
Check Facebook.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Carl Mingers. This is Aaron Burns. We are WRME Live.
We are live.
Yeah, what is it? November 5th, 2021.
Crazy.
Episode 209. You know, this time last year, actually November 3rd is the last day I remember last year. Then I spent the next 2 months in a coma. So I'm really going to enjoy the next 2 months. I'm going to enjoy Thanksgiving twice as much as I did last year.
Right.
Okay.
Christmas.
Christmas, I better get twice as many presents.
Oh, listen to him. You're really going to play this up, aren't
Hey,
you?
man, hey, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, luckily I skipped my birthday last year, so I'm only going to be
That's
1 year older this year instead of 2. You know, okay. So
nice try on that.
I'm not a senior citizen yet. Okay. No. It's a crazy world. But I want to thank everybody that prayed for me and watched over Dia and everything. Appreciate that a bunch. Let's talk real estate. Why in the world do we have adversarial people? You know, you have adversarial buyers, adversarial sellers, adversarial agents.
Could be either side.
Yeah. And if there's a broker happens to watch this, if you have an adversarial agent, dump them. Get rid of them. Send them out there. If they're so damn good at everything, send them out there and they can open their own brokerage. They can see what their own costs are going to be and see how tough it is when there's nobody there to back them up.
And reevaluate whether you're the buyer, the seller, or the broker. If you're having an issue with an agent or a transaction, step back and take a look and see what the real problem is.
Yeah, a lot of times it's emotional attachment to the property. Sometimes it's, the buyer and the seller just don't like each other. And I understand that, but you're not moving in with them.
And sometimes it's not even the buyer or the seller; it's one or the other agents causing the issues.
Yeah,
that the others don't see.
And why in the world would an agent stir their buyer or seller up over piddly little things that don't make a hill of beans in the grand scheme of things?
But we've all been in those situations.
Yeah. I generally give Cutco knives, as closing gifts. Went to a closing on one of my properties. Not one of my properties, one of my listings that I'd sold like 3 or 4 houses to these people. They're great to deal with, but the buyers on their property, they start moving stuff in. Before closing, they were just doing some stuff they shouldn't have been doing, and their agent said, "Oh, it's okay." No, it was not. But by the time we got to closing, I had to hide the knives because my sellers were ready to kill the buyers. They actually had to be separated and put into separate rooms at separate times because, they could not even stand the look of it.
Well, we've personally had to deal with one like that too on one of your properties. Agent on the other side, they brought the title company in on it. It was bad deal.
And I'll tell you right now that's where having a good broker to back you up on things is incredibly important.
I was not happy.
I'm going to a closing this afternoon. I have nothing to do with it except that it's one of our agents, and the agent on the other side, who's been adversarial, decided to take vacation and left her clients out kind of
up in the air.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm going to go make sure everything goes smooth. I'm pretty good at just getting along with everybody and, be a good buffer.
And that's the importance of having a good agent, having a good relationship with your agent, having a good relationship with your broker as an agent. All that comes into play. If I go out of town for any reason, I know my clients are taken care of. Same with any of our other agents. We have a system here where we're taken care of. Our clients are taken care of. None of our clients will ever show up to a closing by themselves.
Well, and I think it's important for agents to show up to closing. When they just show up to get a check and that's it, That's very frustrating. Your relationship and future business with those
Yes.
clients depends on how you act, how you carry yourself, how professional you are, and everything at closing. You can actually have a great relationship with clients and then kill it at closing by being stupid or just, I need my check before I go on vacation, that kind of stuff.
Or I already spent this money. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Christine and I were at a closing, and the agent, it wasn't going to happen because some difficulties. It wasn't going to happen until the next day. And the agent's like, but I got to have that check today. I've already spent that money. I've already wrote a check on it. We're like, oh my gosh, I would never say that in front of a client anyway.
I would never say that in public, period.
I would never do that.
We could do an episode on things agents should never say and feel like an hour's worth.
The best thing you can do at a closing, and this is for agents, is just go in there, sit down, do your introductions, and shut up. Just sit there. If somebody asks you a question, answer it. If there's a needed document, because I always take my files or my iPad with all my files on Dropbox. If somebody needs something that's not in there, boom, I take care of it. It's just smooth.
And read your clients, because I've been sitting in a closing, and the closer will say something to them, and they'll look at me, and I can tell on their face.
Right, that either they don't understand.
They don't understand. So then I interject and say something, and then I say something to the closer so she can better explain it, but more on me. It's, remember we talked about this, or whatever I need to say, and then I ask the closer to better explain it.
It's important that you're there.
Right.
Well, it helps the clients because most people don't go to closings every day. They just this is a big deal to them, and you're in this fancy office with all this stack of paperwork like this thick, and they're very intimidated by that.
They are.
And just you being there, minding your P's and Q's. Just it's a huge help.
And it helps them relax a little bit because they're familiar with you as their agent versus
They should
a
be.
title company they've never dealt with.
They should be very familiar with you as an agent.
So that helps. And then sometimes it helps too if you go in and you've closed with the people and you know them in there and y'all have a conversation. It also, I've noticed, relaxes my clients sometimes, and we can get them in a little conversation before we start the serious stuff. You can kind of see them relax a little bit. They're not as not really intimidated, but that paperwork is a lot of intimidation.
They're in a new situation, and all their alert flags come up, because they're getting ready to sign off on a $250,000, $500,000 house, whatever it is. It's a lot of money to commit to, and you want to make sure they understand the paperwork. And I tell them, if you have any questions,
ask.
Don't worry that this may take an extra 10, 15 minutes, half hour. The title company is here to make sure you understand everything, and we'll go over the paperwork. Don't just sign and go through. I mean, I've done so many closings, I basically sign off in 5 minutes. But, if a client has questions, man, we're going to go over it and make sure that they understand.
That's the difference between you and a person that's maybe bought 2 or 3 homes in their life. You're more familiar with it as the investor. I
was at a closing last week, and they slid a new form in on me. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I'm like, they had never seen this before. And what was it? It was another government-regulated form they have to sign.
I know we saw the new one on COVID. I can't remember.
That's it. That was the COVID one.
Okay, was that the one?
I'm like, yeah, what's COVID got to do with closing on houses,
Somehow they worked it in. So if y'all see that one, it's new.
What else we got today? Man, it's going to be a beautiful weekend.
I hope so. I'm sick of this cold already.
My oldest daughter and her friend group is having a bonfire out at the farm. And then I've got the grandkids tonight, so we're going to have our own fire in 2 separate fire pits. So it'll look like the end days around our place tonight. We've been cutting wood right and left. But it's supposed to be a great weekend. I think this evening's supposed to be in the 50s. Perfect for a bonfire. What? Well, you can sit in your nice, warm, easy chair with your fuzzy slippers on.
Bundled up under my heating blanket.
Man, I hope everybody gets out and does something fun this weekend. Because, what? Thanksgiving is 3 weeks away? Not even 3 weeks away. 20 days away. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Say, I leave in like 2 weeks.
And then
so
Christmas
it's 2
is
weeks
like
away.
5 Fridays away.
Don't tell me that. I still got to shop.
The holidays are upon us.
They
so, I love this time of year. I love fall. I love the colors. I love the change in the temperature. And I love Thanksgiving and Christmas. As commercialized as everything is, I still like the holiday hoopla. I guess you can call it.
That's the first hoopla.
It's just great. But spend that time, spend this weekend with family and friends. Go out and have a good time. I think we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
We are Weichert Realtors Main Edge, where we do real life real estate, real world real life real estate.